What's poppin'? I want to welcome you guys back to my channel, Don't Believe the Hype. And on this avenue, there's many different avenues, but on this avenue, we exist to inspire and entertain. So if that's something that you wish to be a part of, please consider subscribing. Now, me personally, I'm a big fan of Dwight Howard. Back when the Lakers were in the bubble and they won that championship, Dwight Howard contributed hugely to that success. So I was thrown off by them trading a lot of their key players in that season after they won the championship. It confused me. Like, why would you change something that was clearly working out? Like, you guys could have probably won back-to-back championships with that same squad, but stuff happens, I guess. People make decisions, whatever. But so they started, in this part of the podcast, they started talking about Ja Morant.
Another question. So you see all of the stuff that's going on with some young NBA players, such as Ja Morant, right? And flashing guns or whatever against suspended, getting in trouble.
Yo, I've seen the videos of Ja Morant, and the dude is waving guns, and not a good look.
Part question. One is, have you ever spoken to him? Do you know him? And if you ever gave him any type of advice, or what would you say to him or any other young NBA player that's going down that rabbit hole?
I don't know him personally. I would love to speak to him about the situation, but it's like, I feel like he has so many people trying to reach out and speak to him. And it's like, he probably just need a chance to just chill. Like, he's 23 years old. Like, just imagine being 23 with 200 M's just from the NBA only. 200
endorsements.
M's. Then you add on endorsements. That's maybe 400 M's and you're 23. Who can tell you anything at that moment? You don't know.
Right.
So for him, it's like he want to experience all these things.
My question is, how come, like, isn't there any, like, shouldn't there be some kind of mentorship that goes on inside the NBA for these young guys? Like, these older cats, all the veterans, like, you see these young guys coming up, you see how talented they are, but you also see how dumb they are. Take them under your wing and coach them, teach them. Not, you don't have to teach them the game of basketball because they're already killing it, but how to be a young guy in the NBA trying to navigate through life with all this money
that this come with. And for us who's watching, we like, yo, bro, you gotta chill. But we don't know what it's personally like. And if I was to tell...
That's what I'm saying. My point exactly. Like, you're watching this kid. You're watching him, and you're watching him screw up his life. And a lot of the veterans, a lot of y'all been in that situation. But you're not saying nothing. You're just watching them. You're watching to see how things play out. Like, you don't assume that because he's young, he's going to not listen to you. If you're a LeBron James, if you're a Dwight Howard, if you're a Chris Paul, a Kevin Garnett, a Shaq, somebody who has a name in the NBA, who has power, who has a voice, like guys like Ja Morant, I'm sure would listen to you. But if you're gonna assume, oh, you know what, I was 23 once, and I had a bunch of money, and nobody could tell me anything, like that may not be the case with Ja Morant. Like, it could be, like, what we're seeing could be a cry for help. You know, like, you clearly see that he needs help. You know, he needs some kind of mentorship. And you're just watching him mess up his life? Like, what kind of leader does that?
I would say, man, I know it's tough. I know you want to do this, but that character that you want to portray to the world, leave that at home. You got to be this character. Even though it's hard, you got to play this role, be this character, because this is going to set you up for life. This is going to set you up for everything that you want. Keep this character at home, and it's also going to keep you safe, and it's also going to keep your mental right. Now you know how to play the game. You know how to be a chameleon. You can go in any room and change up your character, but also at the end of the day, you know who you are.
But you got to teach him. Character, good character has to be developed within people who don't have good character. You can't just tell somebody your character has to change when you're in certain environments. Somebody who has never known that. Like Ja Morant, the Ja Morant at home is the same Ja Morant inside the NBA. The Ja Morant when he's with his homies is the same Ja Morant when he's in the locker room. or when he's in a business meeting. So again, you have to, if you're a leader and you're a veteran in the NBA, you got to mentor the young guys and develop the character within them. Teach them. Don't just tell them. It's easy to tell somebody they got to be a certain way, but if they don't know how to be that certain type of way, then you got to teach them. That requires for you to put time, effort, and energy into that person.
So I think it's tough. It's like an identity crisis. He wants to be, all of us, when you young, you get money, you want people to think that you tough, you got this, you got that. But you're a basketball player. We don't have to be thugs. We're not thugs. We don't have to do none of that stuff. We made it as a basketball player. But I got love for him. I want him to see him continue to succeed. I think he got crazy game, but it's just the people he around could be messing him up, and that's so tough.
The influences.
When you have your friends and stuff that's around, you still want your same friends and people that you grew up with around. You want to try to bring them up with you. And sometimes you got to be like, I gotta let them go.
Everybody can't go.
Everybody can't go, but that's the hard.
Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Nipsey Hussle's song, Victory Lap. But there's a saying, and we hear it a lot in the Christian space, and it's, show me who your 5 closest friends are, and I'll show you where you're headed. For example, if you surround yourself with 5 people who like to lie, what do you think you're going to start doing? If you are surrounded with 5 people who like to steal, it's only a matter of time before you start stealing. If you surround yourself with 5 people who are very wise and are business owners, very successful, what do you think is going to happen to you? Who you surround yourself with matters. Man, I think it does, but it does. And a lot of us, could it be that the reason why our life looks the way that it does now is because we have the wrong people heavily involved in our lives? People who we should have cut off a long time ago. We need to evaluate our lives, ourselves, the people who we are allowing in our lives, the people who we allow to speak into our lives. Because it's your life. It's your future. It's your business. It's your peace. It's your mental health. It's your joy. It's your happiness. And if that is of any importance to you, then you're going to do the necessary things that needs to be done in order for you to maintain
This part, because you want everybody to go.
Because now when you try to go back, them same people you try to take with you and try to take you out.
Yes,
Yeah,
they will.
They become the exposers.
Right.
Man. Who was that for you? Who did you have to let go?
Really, it was me, my old self. I had to let go of all those things that.
Who did you have to let go? Me. That was a bar. I heard this pastor say this once. He said, God set me free from me so that I can be free from you. That's so good. Who did you have to let go? I had to let go of me. What does that mean? I had to let go of my ego. I had to let go of my pride. 2 things that can hinder you from growing, from loving, from prospering, from healing. Pride, your ego, yourself. A lot of us need to be freed from ourselves in order to be free from other people, or to be free from materialistic things.
Were not bringing me peace. I was, like I said about the cars, I had a plethora of everything. So for me, I had to learn how to let go of all the things that was just bringing me down. It was weighing me so much. Too much of anything can hurt you. And I had a lot of it, a lot of whatever it was. And for somebody like me, I could get addicted to stuff like that, whether it be cars, it could be smoking, it could be girls. All that stuff can become an addiction, especially when you get a plethora of it all the time. And it's easy access. And you gotta learn how to limit that, learn how to set boundaries between yourself. That's the hardest part. That was my hardest part. Because I had everything. And I'm 18 when I first got it. So it's like I'm developing this whole lifestyle of getting whatever I want. And I'm living in a whole different world than what everybody else is living in. So, it is different.
Why do you think the NBA hasn't put a system in place in regards to teaching young athletes about how to manage their situations? Especially 18, 19, 20, whatever age they are, going into league, getting all this money, it being such a learning curve, and them not understanding this and being misdirected. Why do you think the league hasn't put that in place?
They have one.
They do?
They have a rookie transition program.
Oh,
but
shit.
again, the thing is,
They had it when you was there?
They did.
Oh.
But all of us say the same thing. It can't happen to me. Not me. It ain't gonna happen
A little
to
denial
me.
there.
Yeah, and then it end up being you.
You heard that right. They have a rookie transition program in place to help the young guys. And what a lot of them say is, oh, that'll never be me. Fact is that when you have so much money, it's going to magnify what's already in your heart. There's a scripture that I want to read, and it's in Proverbs 15:22, and this is the Message translation. It says, refuse good advice and watch your plans fail. Take good counsel and watch them succeed. You know what won't allow you to do that? Nah, I can do this. I can do it on my own. Nah, I can figure it out. Something that people like to tell me a lot is, oh, I just got to figure out my own path. I got to figure it out for myself. It's like, why? I had a mentor speak into my life at one point in time, and he said, don't be so prideful to where you spend 5 months trying to figure something out when you could have called me and we could have had it figured out in 10 minutes. But pride and your ego won't allow you to do that. Your pride and your ego will make you go through a long journey and try to figure something out that'll take you maybe a year to do it, when you could have done it in a couple days, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. Less than a year, though. All you had to do was humble yourself. But your pride or your ego won't allow you to see that, to do those things. So now you have to figure things out the hard way, and you're just wasting time. Like John Morant right now, he's wasting time. You can listen to what people are saying to him, or you can just keep being prideful and keep allowing his ego to get in the way. And then before you know it, John Morant isn't going to be the John Morant that we all see. He might not even be in the NBA 5 years from now. Who knows? I hope he really takes heed of what's being told to him, and he applies it, and he listens, and he grows, and he matures. Unfortunately, he's in a position that's going to force him to mature a lot quicker than other people. But that's what comes with wanting to be a superstar, you know? Like, that's what happens. And there's grace that we give people who make mistakes. You know, I'm not saying that we need to be hard and we need to bash him for what he's doing, but I mean, when you've already made a bunch of mistakes at the level you're at and people are warning you, I think it's time to listen, dude.
So it's like, you just gotta, whatever it is, stay locked in, especially for the youngest who want to be in this league. It take a lot of sacrifice. It take a lot of discipline. The the average NBA is 4 years, 3.5 to 4 year NBA career. Anything after that
It's gravy.
yeah.
I didn't know that. The average NBA career is 4 years.
So you really got to be consistent, and you got to be disciplined, and you got to block out all the noise, because at this level, it's so much noise. It's so many distractions. There's so many things that could bring you down. And if you're not grounded, it's easy to get wiped away because it's so much.
You think about guys like Kobe, like LeBron James, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Shaq, all the other greats that came before guys like John Morant. Think about how Steph Curry, you think about all these guys, Klay Thompson, you think about all of them and their careers and where they're at and how long they've been in the NBA. Like, I would learn from those guys. If I had an opportunity to sit down and learn from them and learn what they did, what they're doing to keep themselves grounded, if that's something that I'm lacking, that I'm struggling in, then I would learn from those guys. I would learn from them. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, how can I be more grounded? Hey, I'm trying to be focused, but I find myself distracted. And when I get distracted, I start making really dumb decisions that not only affect me, but affect the people that's following behind me. What can I do better? And you sit and you learn and you take from those guys. You apply it. How much more security would you have? Proverbs, that verse that I wrote, I didn't write that verse. That verse that I read. Refuse good advice and watch your plans fail. If you got a plan and you want to be in the NBA for 20 plus years, and you need to follow the advice of guys who have been in the NBA for 20 plus years. Take that wisdom. That's humility, and that's necessary for growth. It's necessary for success. Pride comes before a fall. You wanna hold on to pride, and you wanna be prideful. After that, you're gonna fall flat on your face every time. No good thing will ever come out of being prideful. Great things always come to those who walk and clothe themselves in humility. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff being said. At the end of the day, John Morant is a ball player, and I think Dwight Howard hit it on the nail with that. You're a ball player. You gotta stay grounded. You gotta stay focused. You gotta stay locked in. Sometimes you gotta get free from yourself of who you are. Sometimes you have to ditch the old person that you used to be, because that person can no longer go into this new place where you're headed. You can't bring old mentalities into new success, because all it's gonna do is you're gonna drag everything down. You're gonna bring everything down to your level of where your mind is at, where your mentality is, and it should be the opposite. You gotta rise up. You gotta become better. You gotta grow. You gotta adapt. You gotta change, and change is not a curse word. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't feel good all the times. Change requires a lot of humbling, a lot of swallowing your pride, a lot of swallowing your ego, a lot of admitting when you're wrong, and asking for help. And none of that is bad. That's all great things. That's all part of your growth and you becoming a better person. But when you hold on to, again, your ego, your pride, you won't be able to do any of those things. And I would hate to see a lot of us not even be able to achieve and get to reach our full potential because we refused to change. We refused to cut off the people who we needed to cut off. We refused to ask help from those who are at a place where we see ourselves. Like, I'm a dad of 4, right? I grew up in a home where my dad wasn't there. Like, he was in my life, but him and my mom divorced and remarried, and growing up, like, I grew up without a father inside the home. So when it comes to knowing how to, like, be present physically, emotionally, spiritually for my kids, it's like, how do I do that when I didn't have that at home, at my house, when I was a kid at their age? So I have to put myself in a position to where I have to learn from people who are fathers who are in their children's life, who maybe they did have their dad in home, and their dad showed them how to be a father, how to parent. And so what I would have to do is I would have to put myself and humble myself, because I can easily be prideful and say, hey, you know what? No, I can do this on my own. But what I would have to do, what would be wise for me to do, is to put myself underneath people who are great fathers, who have a great relationship with their kids, who get their kids, who understand their kids, who are patient with their kids, who are graceful with their kids, who love their kids, and who can show it, who show affection, who know how to interact with their sons and teach their sons and raise up young men. I have to learn from those guys rather than me trying to figure things out and fumbling the ball, up until a point where it's just like, dude, you damaged your kids because you never learned how to be a dad, And it's like, how many of us, like, we damage relationships? We get in relationships, we get married, and that we never had that modeled for us. We start businesses, and you don't know anything about starting a business. You never had that modeled. And when people try to tell you to learn from others, you say, nah, leave me alone. I got it. Just let me do me. It's like, yeah, but you doing you is going to screw everything up. You know, you gotta humble yourself and you gotta let go of your pride, your ego. You gotta cut that stuff out and let that in you die and learn. Not because people are trying to hurt you or take advantage of you, but because people truly love you and people care and they want to see you succeed. So I want to know what you guys thought about that video. I thought it was a great. This is like a 2 hour long podcast. I literally watched it through. It was great. Those are my thoughts about the Ja Morant incident, and I think that's something that we could all take and learn from. You know, being grounded, being rooted, having good counsel, multiple counsel in your lives will lead to success. Plans fail when there's no counsel, and sometimes you got to be free from yourself, and a lot of the times you got to cut free from the people who you're surrounded with. Don't let the wrong people get so involved into your life to where they start being the reason why you fail. If you guys found value in this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and until next time,